Well, thank you very much, Vice President Mike Pence. Great job you're doing. And hello, Toledo. We love Toledo. You remember I was here a lot. You remember 2016, what a year that was, right? And 2020 is going to be even better, no doubt. But I'm thrilled to hold the first rally of 2020 right here in the great state of Ohio. And as we begin the new year, our economy is booming, wages are soaring, workers are thriving, and America's future has never, ever looked brighter. Never. With the envy of every country in the world, we've created 7 million brand new jobs since our election. And we will soon be replacing the disaster known as NAFTA with the incredible brand new USMCA, the historic victory for Ohio farmers, workers, and manufacturers, but really a great victory for the United States. It's an incredible agreement. You remember I came and I'd always talk about how bad our trade deals are. We did a brand new one with Korea. So now we have South Korea. We just finished a big one, $40 billion with Japan. On January 15th, we're signing Monster, a big, beautiful monster, $40 to $50 billion to our farmer. Our farmers will be taken in. I keep saying, go buy larger tractors. Go buy larger tractors. I said, there's no way. I don't know if you know the story. My people wanted $20 billion of purchase, right? 20, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of corn. $20 billion. And I said, make it 50. China's very big. And they said, okay. They said, sir, the farmers can't produce that much. I said, let the farmers tell me that. Tell them to go out, remember, and buy a bigger what? Tractor. Buy a bigger tractor. You'll produce it. So $40 to $50 billion of agricultural product, and the manufacturers and the car companies, and we brought a lot of car companies into Ohio, you know that. A lot of them are coming in. A lot of them have already been brought in. They're coming in from Japan. They're coming in from all over the world. This is where they want to be. They want to be in the United States. That's where the action is. They're all coming back. I used to go around talk about how everyone's leaving. They were all leaving. A lot of you are victims of that leaving. These companies would leave. They'd go to Mexico. They'd go to Canada. They'd close up. They'd buy from China. Now they're all coming back. New ones, old ones, they're all coming back. And many are coming right here to Ohio. And just in case you didn't know it, Ohio just had the best year economically in the history of your state. That's not bad. That's not bad. And this year is going to be even better and maybe much better. But weeks ago, I signed the largest ever investment in the United States military, $738 billion. And we created the 6th branch of the United States Armed Forces, the Space Force, and everybody's excited about that. After years and years of devastating defense cuts, we have fully rebuilt the United States military. Some of it still coming in. We have everything. We've got new planes. We've got new rockets, new missiles. We've got new everything. And it's either here or coming in. $2.5 trillion in new investments. Our military is now stronger and more powerful than ever before. And if you remember, 3 years ago when I took over, we were depleted. Our military was totally depleted. And by the way, speaking of our military, have we taken care of our vets with choice? Choice. With choice. That was a big thing. You know, I used to go around and the VA was a terrible situation. People would wait weeks. He's right. He said, yes, it was. You don't hear too much about that anymore. Do you notice? Choice and accountability. You know what accountability is? For 44 years, they tried to get accountability. That's somebody bad, works for the VA, you couldn't fire them. You couldn't fire them. They could be sadistic. They could be thieves. They could be whatever they were. You couldn't get rid of them. We got accountability approved, and now we say, you're fired, get out. We get somebody that's good. 44 years. And maybe most importantly of all is choice. VA, Veterans Choice. So now you wait online, and a lot of times you'd be waiting online for 4, 5, 6 weeks. You couldn't see a doctor. Now if you have to wait, you go out to a private doctor, you get yourself taken care of, we pay the bill. What a difference it's made. What a difference it's made. You know, when I was a little bit newer to this game, yep, that's okay. They're gone. They're gone. They go home to mommy. Going home to mommy. They're going home to mommy. It's a beautiful sight. Thank you, security. Do we love law enforcement, by the way? So with the VA, I used to go around and say, why don't they do that? Why don't these people, why don't they go to a private doctor, work something out? And I thought it was a brilliant plan. I said, I'm telling you, I am such a smart guy. I said, this is the most brilliant thing ever. And I went back to my people and I said, you know, I have an idea. A veteran's sick, they can't get the kind of service they need, or they need a certain kind of a doctor. I have an idea, such a great idea. You're gonna go out private, you're gonna pick up a doctor, you're gonna get yourself fixed up, we're gonna pay the bill, right? And you know what happened? And I said, how brilliant is that? They say, sir, we've been working on that for 48 years, but we've never been able to get it approved. So I was very, very disillusioned, but you know what I'm good at? Getting things approved, and we got it approved. So we signed that 11 months ago, and what a difference that's made in terms of your lines and in terms of people's health. People would wait online for weeks, and some people weren't very sick, and they'd end up being terminally ill. They couldn't get to see a doctor. Now they go out, they get a doctor, we take care of them. We take care of our vets. So we're using this great power not to pursue conflict, but to really preserve, and I mean in the true sense of the word, preserve peace. We have this tremendous military, and you know what that is? That's really a great fighting force, but I hope we never have to use it. I really do. You saw an example. You saw an example of that a couple of days ago. So we seek friends, not enemies, but if you dare to threaten our citizens, you do so at your own grave peril. We've never had a military. What we have now, we've never had anything like it. You know, we were looking at planes that were old and tired, 50, 60-year-old planes. You've heard the story. The grandfather flew them. The son flew them. The current wonderful person flew them. The whole family flew them. Those are all gone now, folks. Those are all gone. In October of last year, U.S. Special Operations Forces executed a daring nighttime raid that killed the bloodthirsty founder and leader of ISIS. The animal known as al-Baghdadi is dead. And the entire ISIS caliphate is destroyed, and his terrorist empire, and he was indeed a monster, has been totally demolished. We killed thousands and thousands of ISIS warriors, fighters, and we have thousands of them right now locked up where they should be. Nobody has ever done what we've done in 3 years. And I'll say this, when we took it over, it was a mess. We did it in a short period of time, but when we took it over, it was not good. And last week, the United States once again took the bold and decisive action to save American lives and deliver American justice. And you know what I'm talking about. For years, the sadistic mass murderer, Qasem Soleimani, planned and executed attacks against American targets, killing and wounding thousands of U.S. service members and many, many thousands and even hundreds of thousands of other people. As the leader of Iran's terrorist Quds Force, Soleimani spread death, destruction, and mayhem across the Middle East and far beyond. He ordered the violent assault on the American embassy in Baghdad, and you saw this was the anti-Benghazi. We got there very quickly. We got there very quickly. This is the exact opposite. We did it exactly the opposite of Benghazi, where they got there so late. All they saw when they got there days later were burning embers from days before. That's all they saw. We got there very early. We saw what was happening. I saw what was happening. I said, what's that all about? And that was going to be another Benghazi. Had they broken through the final panels of glass, they were breaking it. Had they gotten through, we would have had either hundreds of dead people or hundreds of hostages. That wasn't going to happen. And I called up our great generals. I said, get them over there now. And one of our leaders, one of our really admired people, said, sir, we'll have them there tomorrow. I said, nope, get in the planes right now, have them there immediately, and they got there immediately. Fortunately. But he directed the recent rocket strikes that wounded 4 American service members, badly wounded, and killed an American citizen. That was just before we happened to hit him. Soleimani was actively planning new attacks, and he was looking very seriously at our embassies, and not just the embassy in Baghdad, but we stopped him, and we stopped him quickly, and we stopped him cold. So at my direction, the United States military eliminated Qasem Soleimani and ended his rampage through not only that part of the world, but much bigger parts of the world. He was all over. He was a bad guy. He was a bloodthirsty terror, and he's no longer a terror. He's dead. And yet now I see the radical left Democrats have expressed outrage over the termination of this horrible terrorist. And you know, instead, they should be outraged by Soleimani's savage crimes and the fact that his countless victims were denied justice for so long. You know, he was the king of the roadside bomb. You know what the roadside bomb? And then they got bigger, and he'd send them over to Afghanistan and Iraq. And when you see our friends and our great wounded warriors and our great warriors, when you see them without their legs or without an arm and with so much damage, it's most likely that he caused that damage, because that's what he liked. He loved planting the roadside bomb. So now he's gone, and that's a good thing. Bernie Sanders, crazy Bernie, has condemned the U.S. military strike on Soleimani, the world's top terrorist. Think of it, the world's top terrorist. And we're having people like Nancy Pelosi. Oh, it's a real genius. Do you believe that one? Nancy, nervous Nancy. But here's a guy who slaughtered and butchered civilians all over, and military, whoever was in his way. And we have Bernie and Nancy Pelosi, we have them all. They're all trying to say, how dare you take him out that way? You should get permission from Congress. You should come in and tell us what you want to do. You should come in and tell us so that we can call up the fake news that's back there and we can leak it. That's a lot of corruption back there, folks. No, but think seriously. So they want me, so you know, these are split-second decisions. You have to make a decision. So they don't want me to make that decision. They want me to call up, maybe go over there, let me go over to Congress, or come on over to the White House, let's talk about it. When can you make it? Well, I won't be able to make it today, sir. How about, let's say in a couple of days? Oh, sure, come on over. Now, we got a call. We heard where he was. We knew the way he was getting there. And we had to make a decision. We didn't have time to call up Nancy, who was not operating with a full deck. Now they want us to call, can you imagine calling crooked Adam Schiff? He's so crooked. He's so crooked. Shifty Schiff. Say, gee, Adam, how you doing? Listen, we have the world's #1 terrorist, killed thousands and thousands of people. We'd like to set up a meeting so we can discuss his execution. Would you be willing to meet? Well, I won't be able to make it this week. Well, you know, he's traveling fast. We got him lined up, Adam. You little pencil neck. 9 inches. He buys the smallest shirt collar you can get, and it's loose. Now, come on, Adam. We got to meet faster, Adam. We got him lined up. We got to take this guy out. We're not going to have another shot at him maybe ever again. But I can't make it now because I'm trying to impeach Trump. I'm trying to impeach him. Even though he did nothing wrong. By the way, did you see I did nothing wrong? They don't even know what the hell is going on. In fact, it's so weak, she doesn't want to put in the articles. It's so weak. They're so pathetic. They're so pathetic. So they want us to call them. Now, Schiff is a big leaker. You know, he leaks to crazy CNN. See with the little red light on over? Not too many people are watching CNN. But he leaks. So he'll say, you know, off the record, I got to hurry up because everyone's watching me in the hallway on my cell phone. Off the record, they've got the #1 terrorist in the world, Soleimani, and they're going to get him. They're going to take him out in the next 10 minutes. Please don't tell anybody I told you. But so we have breaking news. President Trump, within the next 20, 25 minutes, looks to be taken out. Terrorist General Soleimani. He's going to do it. Should be happening about the next 20 minutes, 19, 18, 17. Then we get back to the battlefield. How'd you do, fellas? I don't know, sir. He disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. They want us to tell them so that they can leak it to their friends in the corrupt media. You got to say, though, that's a lot of media, right? That's the way the Academy Awards used to look when it was successful. Then they started hitting us all the time, and it became unsuccessful. I love it. I love it, actually. Oh, they have some bad ones here tonight. They have some really bad ones, some real sick ones. They have one good one, by the way. One good one. They have one good one, but some bad ones. Very, very dishonest people, and we have some great ones too. You know, we have some great journalists, great reporters, but you've got a tremendous number of dishonest media people like I have never seen in my life before. They write things that they know are wrong. They write, if you watch for the last 3 years, think of it, and then they get Pulitzer Prizes, but it turned out to be all wrong. How do you do that? They get Pulitzer Prizes for being wrong. The Pulitzer Prize doesn't mean a thing. Doesn't mean a thing. I mean, I'm going to tell you about the Nobel Peace Prize. I'll tell you about that. I made a deal. I saved a country. And I just heard that the head of that country is now getting the Nobel Peace Prize for saving the country. I said, did I have something to do with it? Yeah. But you know, that's the way it is. As long as we know, that's all that matters, okay? That's all that matters. I saved a big war, saved a couple of them. But under my administration, we will never make excuses for America's enemies. We will never hesitate in defending American lives. And we will never stop working to defeat radical Islamic terrorism. Never. And nobody's done it like we've done it. And it's we. It's we. It's not me. It's we. It's a whole movement. There has, by the way, never been a movement like this. You know, outside, I don't know what this place holds, like 10, 11,000 people, right? Outside, you have thousands and thousands of people that want to get in. There's never been a movement like this. There's never been a movement like this. And I'll tell you, maybe I'm wrong, but this is bigger than it was in 2016 because in 2016 I said what we're going to do, but now I've completed more promises than I've made. I mean, I've actually completed more than I made. right? Like, as an example, many of you were here. Look at all those beautiful red hats. Keep America great. That's good. But I never talked about, did you ever hear me prior to the election talk about Space Force? Never talked about it. We did Space Force. But did we ever speak about it? No. There were many things that we've done that we never spoke about, right? Right to try. You know about right to try, right? They've been trying to get it for 44 years. Right to try. That's people that are very sick, terminally ill, and they can't get medicine that possibly works, and very well. We have the greatest labs, the greatest doctors in the world, greatest scientists in the world. We have the greatest medicines in the world. If they have something that they're pretty sure is going to work, but it's going to take another 6 years, I brought those times way back, by the way, way down. But they would travel to Asia, they would travel to Europe, they would travel all over the world to try and get a cure, because we wouldn't sell them the medicine, because we didn't want to take a chance on making the people sick. I said, wait a minute, they're going to die. They're going to die. Well, sir, we can't take the liability. I said, then we'll draw up a statement assessing all liability, taking all liability away from the country, away from the insurance companies, away from the healthcare companies, away from the doctors. And with the great help of a lot of incredible Republicans, and we had some Democrats help us, we passed right to try. And you have to see how this has worked. Many people are being saved. And you know, the drug companies didn't like it because they didn't want to take people that sick, because they didn't want it on their charts. I said, I understand that we won't include that. We'll have a separate list over here. They said, oh, would you do that? I said, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. But I didn't talk about right to try. I never said I was going to get that done, and we got it done. That was a tough one to get done. Sounds simple, it was tough. There's nothing easy in this country. You know, they said to me, a friend of mine the other day, who's the toughest country to deal with, President? He used to call me Donald. I've known this guy for a long time. I like to say 20 years, but it's much more than that. I just don't want to tell you how long. It's too long. And I say, call me Donald. You've always called me Donald. I can't. He calls me Mr. President. I've known this guy forever. He used to call me, hey, Don, let's go out to dinner. You know, before he'd go, hey, let's go out to dinner. Now he goes, Mr. President, sir, how are you? Right? How are you? But what we've done, and he called me, he said, what you've done, he's never seen anything like it. So many people are saying that. We are all together doing something, not only in terms of the election, not only in terms of what we're doing right now. Don't forget, it's a long way to the election. You know, we have, what, 10 months? That's a long way. This is my first stop of the year, first major stop of the year. This is it. And we start. By the way, let's do one of those polls right now. Do you mind? But is there anything more fun than a Trump rally? Here we are. Is there anything better? Ready? So we have the greatest phrase of all time, make America great again. And in all due respect, I'm a little superstitious, I'll never end it. Make America great again. But I see all those hats. Changing it a little bit. But make America great again. And I said, you know, today we just hit the highest stock price in the history of our country. So your 401ks, are at records, your stocks are great, but what it really means to me is jobs, more importantly than anything else. We have the best jobs, the best everything, right? But we just hit, so I can't really say, make America great again. Our military is rebuilt, $2.5 trillion. Our military is rebuilt. We're doing great numbers. Economically, our country's the strongest it's ever been. You have factories moving back into Ohio. You never saw anything like it, right? You had your best year. So when I say make America great again, what that sort of means is like, we didn't get there, but we did get there. So now I have a new theme. It's called Keep America Great. Keep America Great. Right? Now, I'm a very loyal person, and I am concerned about changing the theme, because Make America Great Again, I think it was the greatest political campaign in history. I mean, crooked Hillary spent 3 or 4 times more money than us, right? So crooked Hillary, you should lock her up, I'll tell you. Crooked Hillary spent 3 or 4 times more. So I want to be a little bit, I have to say, that was a great campaign. And I don't want to change it. I don't want to have this incredible 2016, then go with something, and if something ever happened, oh, this country will go to hell. Oh, I hate to see. You know the stocks I'm talking about, records? You'll have records this way. You're going to have records. Get used to it, because if that happened, you will see things happen that aren't good. But I have to now say, do I want to change the greatest theme in political history, Make America Great Again, with Keep America Great, right? So let's take a little applause, right? We'll go, Make America Great Again, you clap if you want that. Then we go, Keep America Great, you clap if you like that. Okay, you ready? First, Make America Great Again. Ready? Keep America Great. So you know that, I call that a free poll. That's better than a poll. Do you ever see these crazy polls? They come out. We're doing great in the polls, by the way. Remember I used to come out and talk about the polls? We'll start doing that very soon. We're doing great in the polls. But this is like a free poll. Somebody else would go out, they have all this money that they raised, and they give somebody $1 million, and they'll ask 200 people that question. And then they'll say, well, Make America Great Again is better. But I will tell you, I haven't heard one thing where that was true. With all of these, I would have said instinctively, Make America Great Again could not be beaten. I've probably done this 10 times. I have never had it win. It's Keep America Great, and that's what we're doing. But we're going to use both. We're going to use both. We're going to use both. Because there's no way that I'm going to jettison Make America Great Again, right? There's no way. We're going to use both, but this hat is a hot seller. We're selling that hat like nobody's ever sold a hat before, I will say. So it's great. Good. Keep America Great. So we're going to use both, but Keep America Great. That's probably going to be the dominant theme. For 8 years, the Obama administration enabled and emboldened the Iranian regime. They gave Iran $150 billion, including $1.7 billion in hard, cold cash. Can you imagine? No, can you imagine? $1.7, $1.8 billion in cash. So the foolish Iran nuclear deal financed Iranian aggression while allowing a quick path to nuclear breakout. That's what it did. And by the way, it expires so soon. They can have nuclear weapons. They're not, as I said before, they will not have nuclear weapons. By subsidizing Iran's malign conduct, the last administration was leading the world down the path of war. We are restoring our world to the path of peace. Peace through strike. Peace through strike. And our country's doing great, and I think something's going to happen that's going to be good. You know, we sanctioned the hell out of Iran, and we just put more out of them yesterday. And they hit us with 16 missiles. And I said, how many? We were ready to go. We were ready to go. I said, how many? How many died? How many were wounded? Sir, none. None. Pretty good warning system. None. How many were hurt? None, sir. So we didn't do anything. We were ready. We were ready. Not that I wanted to, but we were ready. You have no idea. A lot of people got very lucky. We're thrilled to be joined tonight by many great Republican leaders. A man who's helped me right from the beginning, a very special guy, Representative Bill Johnson. Bill, where is Bill? Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Great job. Great job. And his fellow friends, Jim Jordan, we like Jim. We have a lot of your congressmen are right now in Congress. They said, sir, should we come with you? I said, nope, stay back and vote. They're voting on some pretty important stuff, right? But we were able to get Bill. We thank you, Bill, very much. Great job. Great warrior. Thank you, Bill. Ohio Lieutenant Governor John Husted. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Great job. State Treasurer Robert Sprague. Thank you, Robert. And you have a lot more money in the bank right now, Robert, as treasurer, right, than you ever did. Ohio Supreme Court Justice Judy French. Thank you, Judy. Great job. State Senate President, a man highly respected, Larry Obhoff. Thank you, Larry. And a woman who really has become a great friend of mine. She took over this party. We fought like hell. We had some other people that had their mind on taking over the party, but they never had a chance against Jane Timken. Jane. And the man who was in charge of my campaign in Ohio, I had a choice of 5 people. I said, I like this guy's name. I don't know why. His name is Bob Paduchek. Why do I like his name? And I said, Bob, how are we doing? He said, you're going to win big, sir. Because, you know, you keep hearing, you cannot win unless you win the great state of Ohio. That's these guys. And once I was leading Ohio by a lot in the poll, they never said that anymore. It's terrible. They were saying it when they thought I wasn't going to win, but we were ahead right from the beginning. But Bob was incredible. He did a fantastic job. And Bob, I'd call him up. I'd say, Bob, we don't have the governor. We don't have the head of the Republican Party. You know, it's a minor problem. You're running as a Republican. And he punked out on us, right? This guy. We don't have any. He said, sir, you have the people. I said, well, what happens? Cool. He was cool. I said, so Bob, let me ask you just out of curiosity. I don't have these people. The leaders are not with us. Is that good or bad? He said, sir, it's great. You just went up 3 points. You believe this? By not having. And he said, don't worry, sir, you're going to win. And we won by a lot. And now I understand we're up by a lot more than we ever thought possible. But Bob was fantastic. Thank you, Bob. And thanks to Republican leadership, we're up. Can you believe this? I have a 95% approval rating. Can you believe it? And you know who second is? We do. You know who second is? Ronald Reagan at 87%. Ronald Reagan's good. And then one of these characters back there, they put me in a contest with the late, great Abraham Lincoln, right? So who do you like better, Trump or Abraham Lincoln? I said, Abraham Lincoln. So I said, who do you like better? They say they did a poll on this. I think I remember the numbers. All I know is we won against Abraham, Honest Abe. We won. 53-47. You believe that? Abraham Lincoln. I went back to the First Lady. I said, First Lady, I just beat Abraham Lincoln in a poll. I don't know if they had polls back there. But Abraham Lincoln, I always say I can be more presidential than any candidate that ever ran, than any president, other than maybe Abraham Lincoln when he's wearing his hat. But I like Abe Lincoln, but we're doing well. We have a lot of support. You know why? Because our country is doing so well. Our country is doing so well. And when we went out, we started and we went right to the top of the polls. It wasn't like these folks today. They're 2%, 3%, but they're climbing. We went right to the top from day one. We never missed center stage in the debates. Remember those great debates? We actually got high ratings. They don't get very good ratings anymore. They're like, it's like death. Watching, I should watch. You know, I'm supposed to watch. It's like my job. Try and watch. Watch the competition. But it's like watching death. It's death. Those debates are boring. They're boring. You got to sit through those things for 2 or 3 hours. You got to really be committed to the country to do that. I mean, you have some real beauties. You see what Pocahontas is slipping badly? And Bernie is going up. He's surging. Bernie is crazy, Bernie. He's surging. And Biden doesn't know the difference between Iran and Iraq. He's gotten it wrong 4 times. He goes, when we took our shot at Iraq. No, no, no. They're all saying, no, no, they're screaming. It's Iran, Iran. What? What? And his son, right? Where's Hunter? Where is Hunter? No, I went to one of them. I said, we have to have Where's Hunter as a witness. They said, what do you mean, Where's Hunter? I said, that's his first name. I have now made his first name Where's. Where's Hunter? Here's a guy, made no money, got thrown out of the military forces, I think the Navy, got thrown out, had no job, had no nothing. So he went from that to making millions of dollars a year as soon as Sleepy Joe became vice president, right? He made millions of dollars a year. Would anybody in this room do that for millions of dollars? I would. We all would. He made millions and millions of dollars a year. Ukraine took care of him. How about China? He walked out with $1.5 billion to manage, and he never did it before. He didn't know anything about oil and gas. He was making a fortune. So where's Hunter? Where the hell are you, Hunter? But I'll tell you, I sort of hope it's Joe, because he will hear Where's Hunter every single debate 9 times a debate. Where's Hunter? And then you have Buttigieg. 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 I can't, nobody can pronounce, nobody has any idea how the hell to say his name. So what they do is they call him Mayor Pete, you know? You know, like, Mayor Pete. Here comes Mayor Pete. Doesn't do a very good job. Alfred E. Newman, you're right. Howdy doody, some people say. Howdy doody. Howdy doody. The problem is a lot of people don't remember Alfred E. Newman. Don't say that. You look much younger than that, I must say. So, you have Mayor Pete. I mean, give me a break. Can you believe Mayor Pete? This is going to be the President of the United States. This is going to be. How would he be against negotiating against President Xi of China? And we just made one hell of a deal. Oh, you're going to see the numbers very soon, you know? One hell of a deal. They didn't like those tariffs. Thanks to Republican leadership, America is winning again, and America, most importantly, is respected again. Respected like never before. And you know, for years, NATO has taken advantage of the United States. We protect Europe from Russia. And the numbers have been going down for many, many years, 15 years, 18 years. The numbers are like a roller coaster down. And I went over and I said, fellas, you got to pay your bills. You're delinquent. You know, you're delinquent. And then they don't like me. They say, we like Obama better. They should like Obama better. Obama would go in and say, "Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. I'm going back to Washington. I'm going back. I'll be violating the carbon footprint. I'm going to Hawaii to play golf. I drive to play around the golf, and of course, it doesn't even cost them anything. He flies to Hawaii, nobody cares. If I drive 20 minutes, it's like Donald Trump is playing golf today. He violates the carbon footprint. But just think of it. Think of where we've come. Think of where we've come. A great congressman from Tennessee, it's a great state. They have early voting, very early voting, probably the earliest. And he said, I don't know, I just left Tennessee. This was in November. This was the election, 2016. He said, I just left this incredible state of mine. I love that state. Sir, we've seen lines of people that didn't vote before because they never were inspired to vote. And these are people that never voted. And they had hats on Trump. They have pins on Trump, Trump, Trump pants, Trump. They have the bands on, like a Miss Universe, boom, it says Trump Pence, and they've got buttons all over it. They've got shirts saying Trump and Trump Pence. I never saw anything like it. If every state is like Tennessee, sir, I hate to tell you, you're going to have one hell of a victory, and that's what happened, right? That's what happened. And you did it. You did it, and I think we're going to have bigger numbers, even bigger numbers, because I'll tell you what, we're a long way from the election. I think the crowds today are bigger than they were the day before the election last time. I really do. Elizabeth Warren, sadly referred to, she of great Indian heritage. Remember I used to say, I have more Indian blood in me than she has, and I have none. I turned out to be right. But you look at what she's doing, you look at what she's saying, the lies, the deceit, the fraud. You see it all. We are going to do so great. It's going to be something that's going to be special. It's going to be, for the record books, the evangelicals called, some of the greatest pastors, ministers, preachers. And they just called today 5 of the most respected people. And they said things that were incredible. They said there's never been anything like this in the church that they can some of them have been doing it for 30, 40 years. They said we have never seen enthusiasm like we see for this president and for this presidency, all of us, like we have right now. And the great Franklin Graham, Billy Graham's son, Franklin Graham, a fantastic man, he said 2 weeks ago, my father, Billy Graham, voted for Donald Trump. Nobody never said that before. Billy Graham wasn't somebody that would vote and say he voted. Franklin Graham said, Billy Graham may be the greatest of all, maybe the greatest of all time. He said, my father, Billy Graham, who was very old at the time and in trouble, he was in trouble, he was not well, he voted for Donald Trump. What a great tribute that was to me. What a great tribute. Great family. Unemployment has reached the lowest level in over 51 years. African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment have all reached the lowest rates ever recorded. Wages are rising fast. They're going up very fast. And the biggest percentage increase, makes me happy, are for blue-collar workers. 40 million, think of this, 40 million American families are now benefiting from the Republican child tax credit, each receiving an average of over $2,200 a year. Now, America lost This is hard to believe, because if you think, how could it possibly be true? But this is what happened. Probably it's the reason, number one reason I'm running. America lost 60,000 factories under the previous administration. 60,000. You wouldn't believe that's possible, but I know it's true, because I've said it 50 times, and the fakers back there, they've never corrected me. No, it's true. No, it's true. If I was slightly off, if I was off by 2 factories, there'd be a headline, Donald Trump told a fib. Donald Trump gets to be a Pinocchio again. No, think of it. 60,000 factories, plants and factories closed. They went to Mexico. They went to China. The 60,000, it's not even, take a look at a map and put 60,000 little tacks. I mean, you wouldn't believe it could be that many, but it is. It's 60,000 closed, gone. They're all coming back. They're all coming back. And right now, just in a very short period of time, we've added 12,000 brand new factories, and many more are coming in. And one of the reasons they're coming in is we've eliminated a record number of job-killing regulations, saving the average American household $3,000 a year, and total income gains for median households will reach over, ready, $10,000 a family. $10,000. Now, under the Bush administration, the $10,000, that includes what we've done in terms of medium income. I'm adding in there the tax cuts, which are tremendous, $2,400. And I'm adding regulation cuts. I'm adding the whole package, over $10,000. Now, under President Bush, it was $450. Under Barack Hussein Obama, it was $975. Under President Donald J. Trump, it's $10,000 in 3 years. 3 years. Right? In 3 years. Don't forget, President Bush, 8 years, $450. President Obama, 8 years, $975. President Trump, 3 years, not even, but 3 years, $10,000. And we're going up. We ended the last administration's war on American energy, and we ended the war on clean, beautiful coal. It's being shipped to Vietnam. It's being shipped all over the world. While every Democrat running for president wants to shut down our coal mines, we are putting our miners back to work. Dig we must. Clean coal. What they do with coal today is incredible. Clean coal. And with the help of energy workers right here in Ohio, the United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world by far. #1. We weren't #1. Every top Democrat candidate has pledged to eliminate American production of oil and natural gas. How does that work, by the way? You know, there's a state known as Texas, and I won Texas by a lot, just like I won Ohio by a lot. How would you like to go into Texas and say, by the way, we don't want your oil or natural gas anymore? How about Beto? Remember he said, I was born to be president. Anybody that says that, I said, that's the end of his career. Remember he had the cover of the magazine, I won't mention the magazine, Sleazebag magazine. He was born to be president, and right after that he came tumbling down. But he's from Texas, so he was against religion, he was against oil, and he was against guns. Abraham Lincoln could not win in Texas with that platform. That's not a good platform. It's not a good platform, but you have people that want to shut down the oil industry. And if you do that, you're going to shut down half of your businesses, really more than that. And the rest of them are not going to be able to pay because the cost of this energy would be so expensive. So we have all forms of energy. We have every form of energy, and we are doing great. But they want to cripple your state's economy. But the voters of Ohio will never let that happen. Never going to let it happen. And our air and our water right now is cleaner than it's been in 40 years. And sadly, I can't say historic because, you know, a couple of hundred years ago, there was nobody here, right? So I assume that 200-300 years ago it was cleaner, probably. You never know. But our water and our air is as clean as it's ever been. And I took us out of that horrible Paris Accord. I always say, how you doing with the Paris Accord? Don't ask. Saved trillions and trillions of dollars. That was put in there to hurt us, in my opinion. It was put in there to hurt us. We were paying money to India. We were paying money to China. China's didn't kick in until 2030. We kicked in immediately. We had to pay money. Russia kicked in let's see, they kicked in before. They were 1996. That was a very dirty period of air. So they didn't have, we kick in now, and that it's just unacceptable. We would have spent trillions and trillions of dollars. We would have had to close up, I think, at least 25 to 30% of our businesses. Who the hell would make a deal like that, right? Who would make a deal like that? No, how unfair. You look at Russia, you look at China, you look at India, they all got these massive breaks. We got no breaks, and we're paying money. And I say sometimes to France, how are the yellow vests working out? Because they don't like raising their taxes and sending the money to faraway places that they never heard of. So we are in good shape. It took a certain amount of courage to do that. I said, I'm going to get killed on this one. And you know what? I did it, and I was applauded, because the people get it. The people know what we're doing, and they're tired of being ripped off by the rest of the world. They're tired of being ripped off by the rest of the world. For decades, career politicians promised to defend the workers of Ohio, and then they went to Washington and voted for the same globalist policies that devastated your communities and shipped away your jobs. You know that better than anybody. Ohio knows that. But the betrayal of Ohio workers and U.S. workers ended the day I took the oath of office, and you see that because you're setting records. I immediately canceled the Obama administration's job-killing catastrophe, which would have dealt a death blow to the United States auto industry, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It was a disaster. That was going to be worse than NAFTA. NAFTA, I always say the worst deal. I think that would have been worse. It would have taken the car industry. It would have taken many of your industries. That was a setup for the United States to get fleeced. The USMCA will save the American auto industry and create over 100,000 new auto jobs, and our factories will not be closing and moving to other faraway lands. We'll keep them right here if that's okay. And that's going to include, because we take care of our great auto workers of Toledo, the home of Jeep. How good is Jeep? And I've taken the toughest ever action against China's chronic trade abuses, including tariffs on $370 billion worth of Chinese-made goods, bringing billions and billions of dollars into our treasury. And I gave some of that money because they were targeted to our farmers, and our farmers did just fine. And now the deal is done, and the other deals are done, and the farmers are doing very well. We love our farmers. And they never complain. They never complain. You know, when they'd go, the fake news back there, they'd go and they'd talk to the farmers. What do you think of President Trump? China is deciding not to buy any more of this. He said, you know what the farmers would say? We're going to have to suffer for a while, because China and these other nations have been ripping us off for years. The president is right, and we're with the president. How great are they? How great are they? But our strong action paid off, and we'll sign that terrific and fully enforceable Phase 1 trade deal with China. And again, we're keeping the tariffs on because we'll use that for another one. We are taking billions. You remember what I said? We're not paying for it because China devalued their currency and they put a lot of money into the pot. We're not paying for it. And now they're starting to say, I guess he was right. And our trade deficit, as a result, has really come substantially down. It was just in the papers today. The trade deficit has come down. As a result of our actions, steel mills all across Ohio, you know this better than I do, are roaring back to life. JSW Steel is investing $500 million in Mingo Junction. Republic Steel is reopening the Lorraine mill that they idled in 2016. Charter Steel is building a $150 million mill in Cuyahoga Heights, and Nucor is investing $85 million at a facility in Marion, Ohio. Think of that. Think of that. The steel industry was dead, and now it's vibrant. All told, American steel companies are currently making $13 billion worth of new investments all across our nation. Think of that. They worry